The job market trap. Why finding work is nearly impossible for Americans in Switzerland. There's this picture I have in my head. Maybe you have it too. Snow-capped mountains soaring into a sky so blue it hurts your eyes. Little wooden chalets nestled in green valleys dotted with cows. Yes, actual cows with bells. The air is crisp and clean. The chocolate is legendary. The cheese is, well, it's cheese, but it's Swiss cheese. Everything runs on time, perfectly efficient. It's the image of Switzerland, a place that seems almost too perfect to be real. For years, that picture has been my dream. Not just a vacation dream, mind you, but a life dream. The kind where I actually pack my bags, move there, and build a life surrounded by all that postcard perfection. I'm just an average American guy. Got my degree, got some decent work experience here in the States. Nothing extraordinary, but I'm reliable, I work hard, and I figured, hey, Switzerland's a global hub, right? Banks, pharmaceuticals, tech, surely there's a place for someone like me. I imagined myself settling into a nice town, maybe learning some German or French depending on the region, spending weekends hiking those incredible Alps, and enjoying that famously high quality of life. It felt achievable. A stretch, maybe, but achievable. So I started digging. Like most people these days, my first stop was the internet. Job boards, company websites, expat forums. And initially, it looked promising. I saw job titles I recognized, descriptions that matched my skills. The salaries listed? Wow. Even accounting for the notoriously high cost of living, they looked impressive. My English is native, obviously, and I saw plenty of multinational corporations listed, so I thought, okay, language might be a hurdle eventually, but surely in these big companies, English will be enough to get started. My optimism surged. This dream felt closer than ever. I started bookmarking apartments, reading about different cantons, even trying out a few basic German phrases on a language app. Switzerland, here I come! Then came the applications. I polished my resume, wrote cover letters tailored to each position, highlighted my experience, and hit send again and again, and waited some more. The first few rejections stung, but hey, that's normal in any job search, right? We received a high volume of applications. We've decided to proceed with other candidates whose qualifications more closely match our requirements. Standard stuff. Disappointing, but standard. But the pattern started to feel different. Sometimes I wouldn't hear back at all. Just silence. Other times the rejection would come suspiciously quickly, almost too fast for anyone to have properly reviewed my application. I started digging deeper, beyond the glossy company websites and into the nitty-gritty of Swiss immigration law and labor market regulations. That's when the beautiful, perfect picture in my head started to crack. That's when I stumbled into what I now call the Swiss job market trap. The first massive wall I hit, the one that explains so much of the silence and quick rejections, is something fundamental. Priority. Switzerland has agreements, primarily the Agreement on the Free Movement of Persons, AFMP, with the European Union, EU, and the European Free Trade Association, EFTA countries. What does this mean in simple terms? It means Swiss employers must give hiring preference to Swiss citizens first, and then to citizens from any EU EFTA country. Only if they can prove to the government that they searched thoroughly and couldn't find a single suitable candidate within this massive pool of people, Switzerland plus basically all of Europe, can they even consider hiring someone from a third country. And guess who's in that third country category? Yep, Americans. Suddenly, it all made sense. Those quick rejections? My application probably never got past the first filter. Is this person Swiss or EU EFTA? No. Okay, next. The silence? Why would they even bother responding if legally they couldn't realistically hire me unless the position was incredibly specialized and they'd exhausted all other options. It wasn't personal. It wasn't necessarily that my skills weren't good enough. It was systemic. I was automatically at the back of a very, very long line simply because of my passport. Imagine applying for a job in your own country, but being told you can only be hired if the company proves they couldn't find anyone else in the entire nation or continent who could possibly do the job. That's essentially the situation for Americans trying to get hired from abroad in Switzerland. It's a monumental hurdle. Companies, understandably, often don't want the hassle, the paperwork, the delays, and the uncertainty involved in trying to justify hiring a third-country national when they have a qualified Swiss or EU candidate available who they can hire immediately with zero immigration fuss. Okay, so priority is a huge barrier. But let's say, hypothetically, a company really wants you. Maybe you have some super niche skill they desperately need. Then comes the next layer of the labyrinth. Work permits. You can't just show up in Switzerland and start working. You need a permit, and you can't get a permit without a job offer. And you can't easily get a job offer because of the priority rule and the fact that getting you a permit is a bureaucratic nightmare for the employer. See the catch-22? The Swiss permit system is complex. There are different types, like the L permit, short-term, and the B permit, longer-term resident. Crucially, these permits, especially for third-country nationals like Americans, are subject to quotas. Yes, quotas. The Swiss government sets annual limits on the number of permits they will issue to non-EU FTA workers. These quotas are often split by canton, region, and permit type. So, even if a company successfully jumps through the hoops of proving they need you and can't find a Swiss EU person, and they are willing to sponsor you, they might still be denied simply because the annual quota for that type of permit in that canton has already been filled. It's like trying to get concert tickets that sold out months ago. This whole process falls under the umbrella of employer sponsorship. For an American to work in Switzerland, unless they have other means, like marrying a Swiss citizen or having EU citizenship through ancestry, they generally need a Swiss employer to sponsor their work permit application. This isn't just filling out a form. The employer has to undertake the whole process with the cantonal migration authorities. They have to submit your qualifications, the job description, proof of their search for Swiss/EU candidates, the labor market test, justify the salary, it has to meet local standards, and basically convince the government that hiring you is necessary and beneficial. Why would a company go through all that trouble? The truth is, most won't, unless they absolutely have to. It costs them time, money, lawyer fees, administrative costs, and carries the risk of refusal after months of effort. It's far, far easier for them to hire someone locally or from the EU EFTA pool who doesn't require this complex sponsorship process and isn't subject to the same restrictive quotas. The jobs where Americans do successfully get sponsored are often highly specialized senior roles, positions requiring unique technical expertise that's genuinely scarce in Europe, or internal transfers within large multinational corporations that have the resources and experience to navigate the system, e.g., transferring an existing employee from their U.S. office to their Swiss office. For the average American professional looking for a standard job from scratch, the chances of finding an employer willing and able to sponsor them are frankly slim. It's like needing a golden ticket, and there are very few being handed out. Then there's the Yaos language barrier. Switzerland, as you probably know, has 4 national languages: German, French, Italian, and Romansh. While English is widely spoken, especially in business settings in major cities like Zurich or Geneva, and you can find jobs advertised in English, particularly in multinationals, don't underestimate the importance of the local language. Depending on the canton you're targeting, you'll likely need fluent German, French, or Italian for most jobs, especially those involving customer interaction, local team collaboration, or anything outside the very specific international corporate bubble. Even in companies where English is the official working language, daily life, team lunches, casual conversations, and integration into the local community absolutely require proficiency in the local language. Applying for jobs requiring fluent German when you only speak English drastically shrinks your pool of possibilities. It's another filter that automatically excludes you from a huge portion of the job market. I tried learning German, I really did, but reaching fluency while living thousands of miles away is tough, and it wouldn't help me if the perfect job was in Geneva, French-speaking, or Lugano, Italian-speaking. Let's not forget the cost of living. We all know Switzerland is expensive, like really expensive. Rent, groceries, transportation, healthcare, it all adds up incredibly fast. Trying to move there without a job already secured means burning through savings at an alarming rate. Even just visiting to network or attend interviews is a costly affair. The financial pressure adds another layer of difficulty. You need a significant financial cushion just to attempt this dream, which makes the low probability of success even more daunting. And sometimes, even your qualifications need extra hoops. While U.S. degrees are generally well regarded, certain professions, especially regulated ones like healthcare, law, sometimes even engineering or teaching, might require your American credentials to be officially recognized or certified by Swiss authorities. This can be another lengthy, bureaucratic, and potentially costly process to navigate even before you tackle the job search and visa hurdles. So, what started as a bright, beautiful dream of alpine meadows and efficient living slowly morphed into a frustrating encounter with a bureaucratic fortress. Reading forums online, I realized I wasn't alone. Countless other Americans and Canadians, Australians, Brits post-Brexit, etc., basically other third-country nationals, shared similar stories of optimism crushed by the realities of the Swiss job market. The allure is strong. The quality of life is genuinely high. If you can get in, but the system is fundamentally designed to prioritize others. It feels like a trap because the country presents this image of being open, international, and welcoming to talent, but the practical, legal, and bureaucratic hurdles make accessing its job market feel nearly impossible for many of us on the outside. Does this mean no American ever gets a job in Switzerland? Of course not. As I mentioned, people with highly specialized skills, those transferring within a multinational company, or those with personal ties like marriage, do make it work. But for the average American professional dreaming of starting fresh in Switzerland based on their general qualifications and work ethic, the odds are heavily stacked against us. It requires a huge amount of luck, persistence, the right kind of in-demand skills, often language fluency, and finding that rare employer willing to navigate the sponsorship maze and hope the quota gods are smiling. My Swiss dream isn't dead, not entirely, but it's changed. The naive optimism is gone, replaced by a sober understanding of the immense challenges. Maybe Switzerland is destined to remain just that, a beautiful place to visit, to hike for a week or two, to marvel at the efficiency from a tourist's perspective. Living and working there? That seems like a peak too high for me, and many Americans like me, to climb right now, blocked not by a lack of desire or skill, but by a system of walls and quotas designed to keep us out. It's a tough pill to swallow when you see those mountain pictures. The trap isn't the country itself, which remains stunning, but the gap between the dream it inspires and the near impenetrable reality of its job market for outsiders like us. So what do you think? Have you ever dreamed of working in Switzerland or another country known for being tough for expats? Have you faced similar hurdles trying to find work abroad as an American? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like and share it with anyone else who might be dreaming that alpine dream. And don't forget to subscribe for more real talk about the ups and downs of travel, dreaming big, and navigating the world as an American.